Leonard. I'm here for another edition of Skill TV. I happen to be attending the Process Inventory Reliability Maintenance Conference here in Raleigh, North Carolina, sponsored by EdCon. And today we happen to hear a keynote discussion from a gentleman who's actually been fighting a transition going on in his organization. He's actually has re-energized his organization, set some strategic goals, and has really implemented some strong reliability systems that have increased the productivity and performance of his business. And I'd like him to kind of share some of his words of wisdom and some of the processes that he's been through. So thank you for having a few minutes, Bruce. And please tell everybody your name and what company you're with.
Okay, well, my name is Bruce Warrick. I'm the maintenance manager at a large pulp and paper facility in Longview, Washington, Longview Fibre Paper and Packaging Incorporated. We've gone through a lot of changes over the last couple of years. We've been involved in a buyout, and expectations have changed dramatically. So as a result of that, we've been fighting two battles. One is to overcome an old culture of entitlement at the mill, and the other is to actually move forward for the future and be successful as a business, be profitable. With the buyout, we've had a lot of new expectations from a profitability standpoint, so we've been implementing maintenance reliability programs to achieve those profitability expectations.
So you went from a family-owned business to a corporation,
yes,
literally overnight, and as a result, they have put some expectations and some revenue and some structure into your operation, with some mixture or with the expectation of generating some higher level of profitability and accountability. Right. With that, it was some struggle, but and increasing anxiety. But you were able to put in some initiatives and programs to be able to achieve the objectives that were desired in your operation.
Yeah. What we've implemented is just basic best practices for reliability. Planning and scheduling is a good example. Implementing planning has improved our efficiency. Scheduling the work, having the mechanics flow to work is also a big part of the scheduling aspect of it. Training also. We've gone from essentially on-the-job training exclusively to web-based training, which is actually theory and principles to go along with the practical aspects of each of the mechanics and mechanical.
So you're formalizing the training, setting some expectations, setting some pay-for skills initiatives based on the results, not just based on their longevity.
Right, and holding people accountable for learning it, and holding people accountable for quality work.
So as other companies are striving to contend with some of the economic situations, would you recommend some of these initiatives, and how would you recommend companies to deal with some of these issues?
Well, what I'd recommend is basically what we've done is to identify best practices in the industry and implement. It's not going to be perfect. You won't start out 100% sure, but implement, evaluate, measure, and change it.
What I like about what you're saying is fighting isolationism, building your own fiefdom, building your own thing where you become your own entity, where you're totally independent of the rest of the world. Well, as you do that, it's very inefficient and not very cost effective. Whereas if you focus on your own goals and objectives and on where your process strengths are, and strengthen those, and outsource and bring in additional resources and bring help from other parts of the industry who have made advances, you're breaking down some of the silos, and you're opening yourself up to some of these process improvements that you've been limiting yourself for exposure to in the past.
That's right. I think what's critical about what you just said is isolationism is both internal and external. You can isolate yourself as a department, not take advantage of the other areas of the mill that can give you help. Plus, if you do it in a macro sense, you don't take advantage of consultants, you don't take advantage of the vendors, and you don't learn the best practices in the industry from others. Other companies.
What I've seen before is growing companies need consultants, aging companies need insultants. And,
you said it, not me.
But we got to
helped a lot.
Getting companies to recognize. I mean, there's unbelievable, some of the automation, some of the new technologies, but companies aren't sending people out to conferences. They aren't sending people to events. They aren't sharing or learning and investing in their talent.
That's right. That's right. Another thing the consultants really help with is they have the time to be able to help implement the things. You know, you get back to the mill even after a conference like this, you've got all kinds of good ideas, and then it comes down on you, and you're dealing with the day-to-day, and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to move forward. Consultants can come in and have a little bit more of a fresh perspective and be able to help you drive that change as opposed to you having to do it yourself. It's a big advantage.
Yeah, I had an old mentor who consulted with me one time, and he said that, you know, the day-to-day grind just drives everybody down to focus on now.
Yep.
And as a result, they lose the long-term vision, horizon perspective on where they can go.
That's right.
And so they just continue to focus on now, and they don't get to where they could go if they had that longer-term view. Mm-hmm. And having outside resources, planners, schedulers, consultants to be there to focus on the long term while the management can respond to the reactive situations that occur today to optimize those situations, gives you the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah. As a maintenance manager, though, that's one of my focuses, to try and sit back and delegate that responsibility to some of the people that are actually involved in the day. I try to say at least at the week level and at the lowest, and then go to the month and the year.
And get the technicians to deal with the day-to-day metrics.
And that's their job.
Yeah.
But in the past at our company, it's been the management did everything. And that's what we're trying to change. More responsibility to the workforce. And they're accepting it. Most of them are accepting it pretty well, actually.
And you had also mentioned that, you know, you're in the process of the transitions that are going on with the aging workforce, and you're trying to set up some pipelines. You're setting up the formalized training programs and trying to build the future talent pools. Any idea or any other suggestions or that you would recommend other companies to do to help in fighting the maintenance crisis?
Manage your contractors better.
Okay.
Contractor management is so essential because if they're not managed and they're not provided oversight, they can cost you a fortune, and they're necessary when you're doing peak work or work that's not core to the business, and you don't have the resources to be able to accomplish it, or the skills sometimes, frankly. If you don't manage them, it'll cost you too much. Contractor management is a huge part of it. Part of contractor management is outsourcing those non-core
or out-tasking if there's just certain activities that they can do more efficiently.
That's right.
Just get them to do those key things and make sure you manage their expectations and give them, as you said, hold them accountable. Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you
very
very
much
much
for your contribution to the industry.
You bet.
And we appreciate your time on Steel TV. And again, that concludes another edition. We're going to hope you'll find some additional resources.